Can AI have a PhD? The more important question is, should it have? Practically, it may have a PhD, given its intellectual resources, all and beyond the encyclopedia level information that it possesses. But on the other hand, PhD is not only about research, but about the researcher identity, the concept of self, the Whitmanian self idea, and also the being and time. We can remember the theory of Martin Heidegger, where human is both the time and the being, when human is both a substance and a process. In this context, what is AI? Or who is AI if we can humanize it? Let's delve deeper into this. First of all, why AI could write a PhD thesis. I could never imagine to have such a discussion a few years ago, but now it's more than real. And even I've recently I've heard some news about not sure even it's a complete accuracy, but it's highly likely that in the future, at some point, AI technologies may even apply for fellowships. And I think there could be a competition between available places between human and AI technologies. But this is a discussion of another video. Returning to the point, why could AI write a PhD? The first reason, solid reason, is the intellectual capability it has. It truly possesses, accumulates an infinite amount of information, I'd say, because it not only collects information, but can also act with it, processing data, creating new data, given the existing data. And it's more than wonderful. Another reason why AI could write a PhD thesis and could earn a doctoral degree is related to its analytical skills. Give a simple or complex problem for an AI to solve, either related to social relationships, related to pedagogical situations, medical, and any given situation of life or sphere or an academic sphere. And what does it do? What it does? It analyzes on a so deep level. It was so deep level analytical thinking that truly amazed me for many times before and now and in the future with more power, I think. There are far more other reasons why could AI write a PhD thesis and earn a PhD. And one of them is its capability of defense. I can imagine a PhD committee when asked AI about the thesis it wrote, questions the scholarly opponents, no matter how complex or controversial the questions could be, AI would have found an answer. And I'm not telling this randomly. Even if you catch AI at any controversial point and ask clarifications, it will immediately, within seconds, find the solid reasons to justify its points. So its analytical skills, critical reasoning abilities, and epistemic flexibility is quite high. We should accept this. Well, it's sometimes difficult to accept as humans, but this is not a threat. This is just development, technological development, which will definitely contribute to human development as well, because technology is a weapon either to protect or to destroy, depending on who is using it. What refers to the concept of knowledge, which is central in PhD and doctoral education, here a question arises: artificial knowledge and natural knowledge. Both can be as valid as given how truthful they are. If the knowledge is artificial, algorithmically generated, it doesn't mean it's wrong. No, if knowledge creates value, if knowledge solves problems, it's already a high-level achievement. So if AI could solve any problems given its artificial knowledge, and if it could write a PhD thesis, it could be a contribution to society. But there are strong reasons why it may not have been the right choice for an AI to have a doctoral degree. Let's discuss the opposite points. Why it wouldn't be a solid choice? Why it wouldn't be the right path for AI? Artificial intelligence is based on algorithms. It represents algorithmic consciousness. And there are various discussions, explorations on the philosophy of consciousness. And I've often talked about this in my videos, in my writings, trying to ask open-ended questions, open-ended explorations. I haven't found a definitive answer yet by myself. And I know that no one probably could give a definitive answer because it's a developing process. It's something that continues to develop and to show where it can go. The first reason why it wouldn't be a radical choice, a right choice for an AI to have a PhD is the following: the concept of self. Doctoral education is not only about intellectual achievement. It's about the person behind it. Person who carries memories, who carries dreams, imagination, epistemic explorations, the high-level effort put in that, and effort-driven knowledge, when knowledge is produced through high level of effort, it's completely different in quality rather than only AI-based knowledge, which is produced with with lesser cognitive effort. I'm not diminishing AI's role, but we should understand the concept of self, how serious it is, how can the concept of self change everything. Walt Whitman, one of the greatest poets in American literature, lived in the 19th century. In his iconic work, The Leaves of Grass, talked about this concept in Song of Myself, a collection of poems in The Leaves of Grass. And he writes that he celebrates himself. He says, I celebrate myself and sing myself. And as you shall assume what I assume. Could AI celebrate itself? Could, but really, does it have a self? Or it's just a machine? But if it's just a machine, how can it think? How can it practice thinking? And as René Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. So it shows thinking capabilities, thinking abilities, thinking power, which is another hallmark of essence, consciousness, hallmark of existence and thinking. But and there is another concept in Whitman's poetry. The concept of self is represented through 3 layers. The first layer is you, individual self. It's you, your own dreams, memories, your past, your future, your aspirations. The second layer is the collective self. When individual self joins the collective self. In other words, when individual human takes part in society, becomes part of society, taking social responsibility, being part of social norms, etc. And the third layer is the universal self. When individual communicates with the universal self, with cosmic level realities. So could AI do this all? Could AI have such a self behind the doctoral thesis? And if not, having that basic level elements of the self or higher level elements of the self, should it worth it? This is a philosophical question to everyone, for everyone to discuss, for everyone to challenge and find solutions. I'd like to discuss this in the context of time and being, Heidegger's Dasein, when he said Dasein or existence is not just who you are, but what you become, how you evolve. So human as a process. AI also develops, like the new versions. For example, ChatGPT had 4, 5, and other developing models, 5.4, etc. And other AI tools as well. They are evolving, they are processes, but this is an algorithmic process. This is not a subjectively developed process. Like humans are gaining subjective experiences, objective as well. And their life experiences, their challenges, their struggles, their resilience make them develop as a completely different type of process, not just as a computational process, but as a humanistic process, as a thinking process, as something beyond algorithm. No, while some people are on a completely on a computational mode, thinking transactionally about everything, but it makes them either neither AI nor humans. So it's another question for another discussion. But returning to the point, I think the Wittgensteinian self and the concept of being in humans, as Heidegger mentioned, my PhD doctoral thesis requires much more than just intellectual abilities, intellectual capabilities. Doctoral thesis is the reflection of a personality, not only as a scientist, not only as a researcher, but also as someone who has explored science across years, who first of all started from bachelor's, master's, then transitioned to PhD, and it was a gradual development and not machinery, computational experience. It was something more. So it's a highly debatable question, I know, but what's true already, what's knowable is that AI is algorithm, AI is a machinery tool with no memories, with no subjective experiences, with no challenges, with no personal or professional challenges like humans do, which objectively impact on their worldview, because PhD is not only synthesizing already existing knowledge, but also finding a novel solution to a scientific problem, which is also somewhat based on your worldview, based on your human values, your moral values, or epistemic virtues, etc. It all combined gives human being far more advantage and right to write the PhD thesis and earn a PhD. To sum up, while AI intellectually could have written a PhD thesis, maybe, given its huge amount of data and analytic capabilities, but it lacks the self, the Wittgensteinian self, and the being, the Dasein that Heidegger mentioned, and it lacks also the worldview that each individual carries across years, across memories and imagination, across dreams and challenges. Video now stop. 1 up. And as a final sentence, I would like to highlight that I think human can be somewhat AI, but AI cannot be human. You can share your thoughts in the comment and subscribe to my channel to follow future reflections. Thank you for watching.